So let's start with the biggest mistake, giving these two cunts the world, the two important titles in the brand, involving Becky Lynch coming to intervene with Seth Rollins promo after a forgettable match, with Lacey Evans as being the special guest surprise referee on their Universal title match, with barely anything happening except the heel beats the heel. We knew Seth Rollins was going to win because obviously you don't want to waste time seeing Baron Corbin hold the title, or at least anything interesting happening, thanks Seth Rollins can never tell a story in a match, except wrestle a good one, sadly. I don't want to put him on the spot. I heard this off, I think, an interview, or at least something involving a shoot interview, that Joe Cronin, love the guy, by the way, the dude, some guy said, Baron Corbin is doing his job. What the fuck do you mean by go away, Heath? He's doing his job as a fucking heel, you retards. There's a difference between finding a heel that you find despicable, but you want to see him do so, but you are willing, but he's going to be like still like a household name. Triple H is a household name, and he acts like a despicable piece of shit. Edge, that is literally a despicable piece of shit over the past, does crap, literally cause guys to get concussed, cheat on his, have an affair with his own best friend's wife, and guess what? People still want to buy his action figures. No one cares about a suit-wearing bald skunt that barely even gets over. And then they started intervening, it's like people, and Seth Rollins is like, I have the best backup in the world. Shut the fuck up. This was corny. Every part of this was corny just to issue somehow just a mixed tag title match for the Universal and Women's Championship come Extreme Rules. Just off the fly thinks we have no authority. Baron Corbin keeps calling himself the former GM, while he still pushes his way for main event matches. That makes no goddamn sense. While Shane McMahon is just only bothered with Roman Reigns. The hypocrisy is real. Then it was issued after the little beat 'em up shit. There would be elimination tag team match, 8-man elimination tag team match. So we were completely confused because I was watching this with somebody. Because if somebody got pinned, it would be like 3-on-4 or something like that. It just came up to just if he gets eliminated, the tag team entirely gets eliminated. So Becky Langston couldn't be able to compete. Everybody was out their way for just random spots. Xavier Woods was just finding reasons to hit hot tags. It was an alright matchup, but we know it was just gonna hit super kicks. There was a nice shatter machine finisher off the Revival to eliminate the New Day on Xavier Woods after Xavier Woods eliminated Daniel Bryan. I don't know where was Eric Rowan for most of the match. Just trying to manhandle nearly everybody. This was an alright match opener. But I hate these multi-man match openers, man. We don't need these. Same thing from last week and the week before. We had a well, no, that was like later on in the show, like the first match. This was alright. Then it was issued on Miz TV an interview involving R-Truth over the 24/7 championship and shaming R-Truth for capitalizing that. Why would he even bring the championship with him? Is he just registered just not to leave it at his house hidden until the wedding's done? He literally came like a fucking idiot, just walking in the aisle with this random woman that looks like it comes to our agreement that we can do these shows in Saudi Arabia, get millions of dollars. Yeah, what's the problem then? We have to involve the human trafficking. We can even use them as actors. Oh, great. That sounds super fucked up, but I think that's the only reason why you have some Brandy Rhodes looking ass bitch walking the aisle with Drake Maverick. That's also a cheap reason for us to gain sympathy. And yet the fans, as soon as he lost his rematch, he forcibly asked for fucking a shot to become 24/7 champion again. He loses after getting hit with one. I don't think it's called a mic check, but whatever he lost in just one move. And then he walked out the ring as soon as like everybody started chasing R-Truth for it and pinning him immediately. Cedric Alexander and EC3 were 24/7 champions. You forgot that happened as soon as R-Truth won it back from EC3. Oh, for destruction of Carmella. There was also a backstage segment involving Nikki Cross. If she was so like knowing, like already experienced in Alexa Bliss's behavior, why in the fuck were you still thinking of trusting her without, being like disagreeing with most of her methods? And then still being the crazy Nikki Cross, even though the only reason the crazy Nikki Cross exists is because of sanity. Why do people always try to keep these gimmicks that you have from factions? Same thing happened with Natalya. She had like the crazy screaming Yelp bitch gimmick until like the Hart Dynasty came into play. And now as soon as like Tyson Kidd was injury prone for most of his career, and David Hart Smith, or Davey Boy Smith Jr., the actual son of Davey Boy Smith, the British Bulldog, left and literally doing way better stuff in the Indies or worldwide. She still wants to like carry the name of like the Neidhart shit, the Hart shit, and it's not working for Natalya. She's like a multi-time women's and divas champion, and yet no one cares about her still because she has no character. Next up was a handicap match that was issued right after McIntyre lost twice in a row twice on pay-per-view against Roman, and it wasn't even a different stipulation. The only difference was Shane was in his corner. And it just ended up with like them just beating the shit out of him. It was changed to an immediate tornado handicap match, so they can be in the ring at the same time. Why didn't they just say that in the showing? So they could just waste the ring announcer's time, being like, it will now be a handicap match where both men have to be in the ring, right in the center, right there, right in the middle, right there, over there, in the right corner. Just for them to just hit their move, Claymore kick, until somebody came to rescue Roman, because obviously he's the biggest guy on the fucking ring. And it wasn't called for disqualification after The Undertaker came out of fucking nowhere, this old fucker, after this disappointing ass match back at Jeddah. He wants to come back on Raw. Because what's the biggest pay-per-view coming up next? SummerSlam! Or they're gonna schedule a tag team match with Roman and The Undertaker. Why work with the same man who broke in your streak, that continued the loss after you lost to Lesnar at 30, then you lose to Roman at 32. 33. WrestleMania 33. So what was the point of this? So I don't know why, but it was cool to see The Undertaker. Obviously, we need some crowd reaction after a really shitty pay-per-view. So I would take it or leave it. Big boot, choke slam, and the dung shit. It was a shitty segment. I did not like the match. It was just a reason for Roman Reigns to feel weak and The Undertaker to maybe have a comeback after the Goldberg match. I didn't give a shit. Next was the Big Hoss, who has the bigger muscles competition after the... Why didn't you... This has no reason to exist other than, oh, these guys both have muscles. Let's not build up like backstage in like Braun Strowman like loading a bit like, I'm the strongest guy in the WWE. That's funny. I'm the strongest guy in the WWE. And it's like that kind of narcissist attitude against two of the strongest dudes, literally two guys that are powerlifters and really strong in the ring. You could have built it up of who's the better man. Except just a reason they had a random way had a book back at Super Showdown. Like now Braun Strowman and Lashley are wrestling each other. Go home show before Super Showdown, they actually had a arm wrestling competition. Then they had the tail of a tape for a arm wrestling competition. The Braun won. Then he won the tug of war after him literally pulling a truck after, fucking Bobby Lashley ripping the rope off a telephone pole. Like, that's more impressive because of the rope he was using. It just came with Braun Strowman doing the Scott Steiner, looking weak until he looks up at you and pulls you down to win the tug of war, and then Lashley just came up, beat the shit out of Braun. These are like crappy segments because you know these guys should be like championship matches already. And you're wasting McIntyre, Lashley, and Strowman's time and giving it to a midget that's wrestling a fucking faggot and Corbin and Rollins, while McIntyre looks like he can kill somebody, seems menacing on the mic, looked so better in the ring than he was years ago. And obviously looks main event caliber, and yet he's being the lapdog of Shane McMahon for no apparent reason at all. He's not even getting title opportunities. All he is feuding with Roman Reigns and losing twice, and losing in 2 pay-per-views already. 1 in Stomping Ground and 1 at WrestleMania. What's making McIntyre look strong? Second, Lashley and Strowman. Strowman hasn't been a big factor in the main roster since 2017. Since like he was feuding with Lesnar. His Roman Reigns feud, that was literally the most violent and the biggest feud of the year, and literally just completely over in the ambulance shit. While Lashley, he won the Intercontinental title against a midget like Finn Balor. This was stupid. It just ended up with no contest with the Undertaker, even though it obviously goes to the McIntyre and Shane because he attacked them first. And then we have Lashley just proving that he has nothing in common. I mean, nothing to beat Strowman in, except just a corny way how to get Strowman over. And then we get Kane 2.0 and Carl Anderson against the Viking Experience. Before that, there was a backstage segment involving AJ Styles talking with them, just yapping on, trying to struggle to chase Ricochet for the U.S. title, while the Carl and Anderson continued to be in these random ass backstage segments. They still job out, while Strowman and Anderson start not even using their finishers and continuously lost on SmackDown. Now on Raw again, it's proven to be a complete point why you bring these guys in the tag division. They're not even chasing for the Raw tag team titles. It's completely pointless. You don't make tag team feuds anymore. You don't make faction feuds anymore. What's the point of having these guys on your show if they're just gonna continuously lose? You don't even put them in a program with somebody. It doesn't even have to be a belt feud. You can obviously have a personal feud involving 2 guys that obviously have some character comedically or at least physically in just being intimidating dudes. So why do you have them continuously losing to the Viking Experience? I don't fucking know. It just came up with them losing off that stupid move the Viking Experience do. It was just very little offense coming out of Anderson and Gallows, and just Gallows wrestling literally like Kane. He does uppercuts like Kane, big boots like Kane, struggles to run the ropes like Kane. Literally the same thing I've been seeing every match. That's why I never call Anderson and Gallows matches. They didn't even have an entrance before the match even began, so fuck off. I don't want to talk about this. Next up was Mojo Rawley versus Heath Slater. This wasn't even on the television. This was literally online. And then just R-Truth escapes, just runs away, and then like Cedric Alexander became 24/7 champion. EC3 became 24/7 champion, and they intervened in a match where like they reinvented Mojo Rawley. He didn't even beat up R-Truth or any of the jobbers that were chasing for that one ugly green belt, and Heath Slater did nothing. While this dude has been physically abused for the last several years. First, you got insulted by Brock Lesnar about not giving a shit about your kids. Then you start getting jobbed out by nearly everybody in the roster. You became a referee for Baron Corbin. And now you're in the bottom of the barrel after having one of the best comeback years for a while, after getting your kids over thing. And now you didn't even get a one-on-one match involving Mojo Rawley. That's supposed to have this new character. And we couldn't even see him do shit. except be a bystander for the 24/7 belt that he even didn't want to chase, even though he never won a singles title. And yet this is like your Andre the Giant Memorial Battle Royal winner. So congrats to WWE really valuing its mid-card their mid-card, right? I really care. I really give a fuck. Next up was Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens intervening over a promo involving Kofi Kingston, and it just came to 2 impromptu matches. Just a reason for Kofi Kingston to compete every fucking week on Raw and SmackDown. So what's the point of the wildcard effect ever playing a factor when it's never storyline oriented at all? All 3 of these faggots are on SmackDown, so why compete on Raw? That makes no sense to me. That doesn't. Especially when you have several dudes in the mid-card that you're not even pushing. You give a gimmick to Mojo Rawley. You give a new character to Mojo Rawley. You have a 24/7 title that you can literally defend everywhere. That you never want to point backstage and be like, who's going to be the new 24/7 champion? Even though it's obviously going to be R-Truth again. It's entertaining, but it's like completely cutting rinse and repeat for me. You have a tag division that has there's not even number 1 contender matches. AJ just feuds with Ricochet now. There's no tournaments, no number 1 contender matches, not even like a personal program with somebody. How is it supposed to push a majority of the main roster? And the NXT niggas still want to come here. I would even go for Impact, because at least Impact is story-oriented. It just came to 2 impromptu matches. Kofi won off a fucking roll-up over Sami Zayn, and the guy that he beaten at Money in the Bank, he won by countout! What kind of shit is that off of SOS outside? Are you serious? And it just came to Samoa Joe just beating the shit out of him. Tossing him on the Minitron. How strong is Kofi Kingston supposed to look? I think not. He's not good. He's not good. I want him to lose the title way before SummerSlam. Like, let him lose it on a random SmackDown. Let him lose it on Extreme Rules. Something. I don't want to see him with the belt anymore, bro. He has no character. He has no storyline. The only thing that gets him over is New Day in general because children like it. And that's not going to make you a household name whether you like it or not. When a dumbass thinks that Baron Corbin's a good heel, WWE has a right direction with its mid-card or anything involving their entire programming with their show, or their women's division is consistent, or their championship, most of their championships are already irrelevant, you're out of the conversation because obviously you're not watching the show. You're playing fucking universe mode on 2K. And for that, I envy you so bad. Because I wish I'd be living in a positive world where I have control of the entire wrestling business. Because you know why? I would just let a couple black people win a lot of world titles. Everybody gets a headshot with a steel chair, and everything catches on fire, with Jim Cornette getting super kicked 7 times and giving a 4-star rating for that bitch. That's what I wish the wrestling world could be. I wish it was like that. But no, it's not. It's not. It's picked into repetitive one-on-one or tag team matches, impromptu matches, no authority figures, no tag division at all, no characters, no. There's never more than 2 storylines and 2 brands. Not even a storyline in what's supposed to be your underrated cult classic show is NXT. The only thing that matters is the Undisputed Era, a bit of Io Shirai and Shayna Baszler, Bianca Belair, tag divisions that are so cut and dry, and no storyline. We brought back fucking Tyler Breeze. That's how good NXT is, huh? We made NXT UK that I don't even watch. I don't think even UK wrestling fans watch. They either want to watch IC Dub, New Japan, or WWE. And now I'm wasting my time with this. I'm not even done with the show yet. Next up was, of course, like the Naomi and Natalia. But before we even had the match, it was just Alexa Bliss versus Naomi. Match thinks Naomi can wrestle. She's not that impressive. She has physical attributes. Yes, she's incredibly athletic and allergic in the ring, but she tells no story. It told nothing except like it's supposed to prove that Alexa Bliss is manipulating her, even though like she costed her title shot for the women's title. And I don't know why Natalya and Naomi seriously came back. I don't know if they were from injury or working too many jobs back at, like facing Ruby Riott and Superstars, or wherever their relevant bitches are, or hanging out with Sasha Banks, where the fuck she is. Or the Iconics were defending the women's title against two transgender pitches that broke their necks and got disqualified because they showed their balls. It just came up to a tag team match that ended up, I think, by roll up. I didn't give a shit about this match. It just came to Bliss and Naomi winning and just leaving it at that. Telling no story except maybe like we might have a multi-women match if Naomi starts, Alexa Bliss starts turning her back on Nikki Cross maybe on SmackDown the next week on Raw. I don't give a shit. Because it's nearly been the same thing, and there's nothing unique about this. Next up was the main event, involving Ricochet and AJ Styles. This was match of the night, obviously, because you have two great wrestlers. This would be great if I didn't hear about fingering your asshole, Ricochet. Thank you for that. You made me lose 2% of respect. 5%. Fuck it, 10% of respect for you. And it just came to fingering your own fucking asshole, douche. It was a good match. Really athletic. There was a tilt-a-whirl spinning neck breaker. Good forearm smash for a reversal. I don't think there was that many submissions. There was actually some good calls. Well, barely, but there was calling wrestling moves. And a suplex reversed into a reverse neck break, a reverse DDT, and it just came with running a forearm, then another springboard forearm smash for the win. AJ Styles won. Pinned the U.S. title, maybe a future championship opportunity. The Universal Champion didn't even have a match. The WWE Champion from SmackDown is there with more screen time than the Universal Champion. There wasn't even backstage segments. All of this was complete mesh to prove that WWE has nothing else to do. They even brought back a near 60-year-old wrestling vet that couldn't even do a tombstone pile driver anymore. Are you really fucking sure I'm willing to watch this damn show anymore? This gets a 3 out of 10, man. The only thing that kept me under my toes was at least a 8-man tag that was decent, but I think it was too spotty. And the main event with very little storytelling at all. Drake Maverick was it was alright, but it's like the fans are so fucking scunty. They kept doing camera angles for why the fuck you always need a fan's reaction for everything? Isn't the crowd reaction a bit more than just one specific middle-aged white faggot dancing to the New Day? There's a lot of white people they put on the fucking camera. I know that's a majority of what was in the arena, but Jesus Christ, no one gave a shit. Other than like 2 to 3 white dads dancing to the New Day, everybody else was just sitting still, trying to get a random picture of a baby on the fucking screen, or do something stupid. Nobody seemed that introverted. Nobody seemed to be that into the show, and I wasn't into the show. I was completely pissed when they just brought back The Undertaker instead of like Rusev or Shinsuke Nakamura as somebody that's affiliated with Roman. Why The Undertaker? Do they want to put him in another storyline where he doesn't even have to work anywhere else on Raw or SmackDown? Make one random promo and just wait until the pay-per-view where he can break his fucking neck like he did back at Super Showdown? Sick of wasting Drew McIntyre's time, man. I wish he just left so he doesn't have to suffer. The mid card is complete waste of space. I didn't care about this fucking ripoff of Happy Tree Friends and Blue's Clues. And there was no authority figures the entire show except like impromptu matches. Everybody just makes impromptu matches. So it's the same problem as what happened last year. They had GMs last year. Just nobody had a character. Paige doesn't have a character except she's a bit of a fan favorite because of the sex tape. And there is two GMs in Baron Corbin and Kurt Angle, and Kurt Angle can sort of get the attention thanks he can talk. And he's a bit of a comedic filler, even though he's like, people have been wishing him to wrestle. Yet he's too old now, and he can't wrestle a regular schedule now. That's the same thing Rey Mysterio regretted to do, maybe. Thanks, he agreed to come back to the WWE, but not wrestle a full schedule. And this was a waste of my time. This still gets a 3 out of 10. I didn't like the show. This was poor quality of camera work. They can't move a camera for their lives. They can't tell stories for their lives anymore. They can't even do backstage promos. Like, that isn't a bad thing. They couldn't even, like, right after Drake Maverick lost 24/7 championship, they just immediately put him on spot. Like, is it really necessary? You really think the fans are going to give him reaction? He just left the ring a sad wreck, and the fans just say, nah, hey, goodbye, because R-Truth is a dumb nigga. And we like supporting dumb niggas. This show was trash. Really trash. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. Look at my Stomping Grounds review if you want more of me getting angry. Thanks for watching.